Hello, hello, hello. Greetings and salutations, beautiful souls. I'm Alicia Barney Matahari, and I'm back again today with you for another pick a card reading. Today we are asking the question, what have they realized about you? That could be a specific person that you have on your mind. It could be people in general. It could be your guides. However you want to roll with this is up to you. So I'd just like to start by saying welcome back to my channel, subscribers, frequent flyers, and occasional visitors. And new visitors, welcome. If you're not subscribed already, I would wish you would consider subscribing, and I'm going to get into it. We have two piles today. Pile number one, we've got this beautiful rose quartz rose. And pile number two, we have got this gorgeous carnelian. So take a moment and decide which pile is for you. And I am going to get started with pile number two. Pile number one, I'm sorry. Pile number one, how I'm going to do this, you chose this gorgeous rose quartz crystal in the shape carved into a rose. Love this so much. And I'll put your number one up beside it here. So we're going to look at a nakshatra card and then we'll pull some tarot. So you've got Swati, the independent one. You have got, this is a nakshatra that is based in Libra, and its deity is Vayu. And Vayu is commonly known as the god of the wind, but it really is, I guess, more akin to air, the air element, breath, which of course breath, think of the pranayama, the breath body, and the breath being the how we oxygenate our spiritual fire is the way I want to put it. And I was looking at Vic Dakara's life lessons, and he described this sutra as being the wind's wanderings need space to drift for imperfection. So what I'm getting from this, I actually have Swati very strongly in my chart. And I was reading, I think it was listening to one of Claire Nochte's videos on Swati, and she was talking about the need to being the purest self of the self. And with Swati also comes this ability or skill to cut through karmic cords as well. So there's very much a freedom associated with this, and it's reminding me of the name, you know, the actress Saoirse Ronan, and I'm from Ireland, and she pronounced it Saoirse, as in, like, she always says Saoirse as in inertia, but I come from the west of Ireland and I know it as Saoirse, and it means freedom, but moreover it means the freedom to be who you are. And I'm getting that really, really strongly from Swati. For you, pile number one, I'm getting for you is that what people have realized about you, or whoever you're asking about, or it could even be your own, you know, your own self or your own ego. What is being realized about you right now is that you were always the real deal. You always march to the beat of your own drum. You always operated on being true to yourself. And you may have been, I'm seeing from Sesame Street back in the day, remember when I think they had four kids in 4 different quadrants, and one kid, and it was like one of these kids is doing their own thing. And I'm really getting that for you. I'm getting ahead of your time. But just also, I'm getting Luna Lovejoy as well from Harry Potter. You know, they think she's way off with the fairies, and she kind of is. But she knows who she is. Know thyself. I'm getting that you were very intentional, and that you always knew you were always tapped into your own frequency and who you are. and very, very spiritual, led by faith, not by sight. And I feel like a lot of people try to corrupt that in you, actually. I'm getting the empath who isn't protected, that kind of thing for you. So you may have incarnated into a family where you actually really needed to be very strong in who you are to maintain your purity of heart and to maintain your intentionality. And you may have had to overcome people pleasing. That might be your that might be one of the big life lessons that you were dealing with. I mean, it is that way for all of us, but it might have been one of your main lessons, let's say. So I just dropped a bunch of a bunch of tarot cards on the floor, and I'm gonna take the Three of Cups. So that speaks to collaboration, and I'm seeing the black is being echoed here. And of course, this is taking place in a church. And I'm just getting that. And then we've got the Strength card also came out. So strength in character, strength in your virtues, strength in who you are, strength in overcoming the narrative of other people, strength in knowing who you are over withstanding people's projections of you. We've also got the Four of Swords. I'm going to put that over here. And then we have got the Four of Wands. So I'm really getting a story here for you, pile number one, that, in the past, people might have, really leaned on you too much, especially in your younger years, and that very much would translate then into school and friendship. You might be always have been the go-to person, you might have been the counselor in your friend group. You might have been, the one who takes the lead in school projects, that kind of thing. And what I'm getting by that is you were always expected to and rose to the challenge of carrying more than your share. And you were strong enough to do that, but it wasn't fair and it wasn't your role to do that. And when you would push back, that people would perceive you as you would be tarred with being aggressive or spoiled or I'm weak, therefore you have to use your strength to fix me. And then it put you into a place where you needed to heal, where you needed to give back to yourself. You needed to go into contemplation. You needed to come back to spirit. And look, we've got kind of the grays and the blacks here, and then we've got the yellows here. And of course, this is Barney energy. It's also twin flame card, known as the twin flame card, and it's celebration card. So you may have been very much, I want to say the sun, but uncredited sun for a lot of the celebration that was happening. So a lot of the happy energy, a lot of the strength, a lot of the collaboration that was going on in the family was coming from your inner strength, was coming from you might be resonate with starseed, but personally I think we're all starseeds, to be honest. We're all from the cosmos. We're all made of the same stardust. Everyone is a stardust, whether you originated on planet Earth or some other planet. Like, who cares? They're all planets in the cosmos. We're all freaking starseeds. So you may have had to go into deep contemplation and deep rest to kind of overcome all of that. And I feel like people are really beginning to acknowledge that internally, at least. They probably have less than zero intention of acknowledging it to your face. And you probably never will get the apology that you deserve or the accolades that you deserve from the people who treated you like this, is the way I want to put it. I'm hearing that. I did a reading recently where it was please mind the gap. And what I'm hearing by that is that, like, as we go into this the timeline split. People are talking about the timeline split a lot. And that's not a matter of philosophy or good versus evil or any of that kind of thing. It's a matter of consciousness. And consciousness it's physics at the end of the day. It's not woo-woo stuff. It's literally metaphysics. And your consciousness through these trials has had to elevate quickly and had to elevate profoundly. In order to sustain all of this, I'm hearing iron sharpens iron. So being in this kind of environment for a prolonged period of time and going through it, carrying it through into adulthood from childhood, would have really made you very, very strong. But with the air element, you had to become discerning and you had to heal. And now you're at a position where you may have scattered like the wind. You may have, they may be saying, oh, she's, she doesn't care. She's turned her back on us. And I'm saying she, because I'm female, and that's what's, I have to pick one of them. But you could be male or female. I'm talking about energies here. And I'm also getting very strongly that you might have been expected to be in those feminine, agreeable kind of energies. And when you kind of bossed up and stood in your, that phrase, take your power back, when you actually turned some of that power on your, towards dealing yourself in. I don't feel like you were ever looking for anything beyond reciprocity. And my mother used to say to me all the time, in life there are givers and takers. And it occurred to me years later to think about, well, which one would you be? And it's interesting because people who think like that think about givers and takers. But I think that you have a much better understanding that life is all givers, and when everybody gives, everybody receives. Taking for me has a different vibration. Taking for me kind of is that I'm a victim, therefore somebody must use their resources to build me up. And I'm not necessarily talking about money, for example. That can be part of it, but I'm talking about the ability to stand on business, the ability to make a decision for yourself, the ability to know who you are, the ability to nurture, the ability to show gratitude for, the opportunities in life. Some people are literally just never satisfied, and they have that hungry ghost energy, and that's never been you. And I think people are really beginning to understand that about you, and I think you're beginning to really understand that about yourself as well. So that's the way I feel like you were perceived more in the past, and your transition is coming into an evolved awareness of that right now. Now we've got temperance. Wow. So and the Ace of Wands, you're entering a new chapter, but a very divine, it's all divine, but a clearer, the decks have been cleared, almost like a palette cleanser. You've got the seven of Pentacles here. You're not averse to working hard, and you actually enjoy it. You want to grow, and you want to share the fruits of your labor with the world at large. And that's back to, we're all givers. When we all give, we all receive. You're on the path to unselfish love, to enlightenment. I'm hearing, and you're done with carrying the burdens of others. You're turning your back. Even though we've got the 10 of Wands here, this is where you were coming from, and you've recognized that being an enabler is not being unselfishly loving. Those are two different things. And I'm hearing relationship standards are not punishment. You walking away from being mistreated, from those kinds of relationships, putting up boundaries, or maybe leaving the relationship entirely, however you're playing that out in your own personal circumstance, is not a punishment. I'm hearing it's not against them. It's for me. It's for all. And I'm hearing the law of one. you serve the self or you serve other, and we're back to that. Because you have an innate understanding that all is one, the law of one. I'm hearing also, you do you and I'll do me, and we'll be compatible or not. And I'm hearing that's like when you were doing your own thing back in the day, people might have thought that you were playing games, and you never were. You can't. They may have been playing games with you. I'm seeing that scene from Bones, that TV show where she was an anthropologist. The scene that they're showing me from it is, at one stage they had a guy in it who was Arabian, I think, or he was Muslim, and he took his prayers every day, and he always spoke with that accent. And at one stage he's with his boss, and they're looking at Bones, what they do, and he totally goes into this, like, the accent is gone, and he's just going into this like straight up American accent, and she's just like wide-eyed looking at him, and then he realizes what he's done, and then he goes back into his pretend accent, and she's like, there is you're not even going to try and unring that bell, are you? And I feel like people thought you were putting on a show, putting on an act, but they've now realized, and you've realized, that who you are, and that you were always just doing you, and it was never against them. You weren't playing games, and anyone that they were so desperately trying to hang on to you, you were just trying to like individuate, which is part of the spiritual path. I'm also seeing that movie. It's a documentary actually. It's called Touching the Void, and it is about two guys who went rock climbing back in the day, I think 90s or 80s or something. But one of them falls, and he ends up cutting the cord, and that's like a big no-no in rock climbing. Both of them survived in the end, but the guy who was cut, he said no, he was right to do it. There was no point in both of us dying. And then the guy who got caught, he actually didn't want to die alone, and he ended up getting himself out of the crevice and out of where he was, and he survived. It was a harrowing story, but it was this whole idea of cord cutting and so much water under the bridge. They obviously have mutual respect for each other, and they understand it, but they were not able to continue because of all the damage that was done. They were not able to continue as friends this lifetime. And that's bring me back to the you do you, I'll do me, compatible or not. We'll see each other I'll see you at enlightenment is pretty much what I'm getting from you. And you always had that kind of innate, it doesn't matter if I move on because we're one, and you're always in my heart, and I'm always going to see you, and I'm always going to treat you with respect, but we've all only got 24 hours in a day. We all have to follow our own path, whatever that is, and we find our path by getting to know who we are and being intentional with that. The other thing I'm hearing is they didn't want you to leave, so they tried to bind you, and in the end, what they ended up, it was creating this huge big chasm, because what happens is there's no staying the same in metaphysics. You're either everything orbits around something. You're either spiraling up or you're spiraling down. And by them trying to bind you, and by them trying to infringe on your free will through manipulation, through playing the victim, whatever tactics they were using to keep you there, or even projecting onto you that you were playing games when it was them who was playing games. What they ended up doing was doubling down on this negative karma, and while you took the higher road, the chasm just widened, and that's where I'm getting the please mind the gap. Please mind the gap. You've got your wings, baby. They have yet to follow their own path, and keeping you locked up was not was no bueno ever. And the gap that's widened, that's a warning. That's a warning to them to please mind the gap. That like if they come after you in any kind of way, that I'm seeing the fool, you know, on the cliff, like they could fall into some chasm that they of their own creation by devolving instead of evolving when it comes to you. And you know that idea of, you know, well, they're nice to everybody else, but they're crappy to one person. Well, that kind of makes you a crappy person. I'm sorry. Your soul is still intact. Your immutable connectedness to God is still intact, but you've just created a whole bunch of karmic crap that you now have to clean up when you interfere with the free will of somebody else. And that's the difference between unselfishly loving, which you are, and selfishly loving, which they were towards you. And I think it came as a great, huge, big shock to you when you realized that they were playing games. They weren't coming to you in good faith in the way that you were with them. And that more than anything else, apart from the scars of, you know, the chains of not being able to spread your wings and the atrophy that happens, I'm seeing it in the body. When you don't move, use it or lose it. Like the atrophy that happens in the muscles is the way I'm seeing it. When the amount of ground that you lost, in some senses, by tending to them instead of tending to your path, it's not that you lost it. It's not that you lost it, but you suffered more. You still alchemized it. You made a choice, and it's reminding me of Viktor Frankl. You have an understanding that no matter what situation you are in, you can always plug into that divine energy, and they didn't get that memo. And hopefully now they're getting it, but you certainly have. And the gap between you guys is just is huge now. And you're coming into more of community own level. Vibration always seeks to find its own level. So as you're coming out of the darkness, I'm seeing the darkness here, and you're coming out of working with people who were not in alignment with you, who were not in alignment with honoring everybody's free will. You're coming more into alignment with people who do honor free will. So I'm going to leave it there, pal number one. This is really beautiful energy. If you haven't come into your community yet, I wish you just so much. It's such a privilege to read your energy. I'm wishing you so much blessings. The road has obviously been hard to get here, and you're coming into just some beautiful blessings. And the other thing that I want to say with this kind of energy is there's this idea that because you're more spiritual, it doesn't hurt as much when people do you wrong. In fact, it hurts more because you are so aware of what the potential or what the other could be. You're so much more sensitive that it hurts more, yet you're also more forgiving. It takes more energy, but you plug into that divine energy. I'm thinking about Christ on the cross, where he's weeping for his persecutors, because I mean, look at what they did to him. They butchered him. His persecutors butchered his body. They butchered his faith. They butchered his reputation. They butchered his family. They they couldn't have done more. Someone like Christ could not have incarnated to do what he did into a family that was not, and into a line and into a vessel that was not a container for that, because he wouldn't have been able to achieve what he came here to achieve. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing you having just immense. The phrase that's coming to me is remote compassion. Il a le bras long. He has a long reach. That's the French for he has a long reach. I feel like your compassion has a really, really long reach. They will always be in your heart. You know you'll see them at enlightenment. You wish them the very, very best. No ill towards them. And yet you're still moving away from that kind of relationship. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for incarnating at this time. Thank you for doing your work. Thank you for just being a beautiful channel for divine energy. Take care, pile number 1. Much love. Bye. Pile number 2. You chose this gorgeous piece of carnelian. And I'll pop it there, and I'll put your number 2 up here. And your nakshatra card is Revati, fully in Pisces. And isn't that interesting? We're leaving the age of Pisces and we're going into the age of Aquarius. The power to nourish, the wealthy star. So what have they realized about you, pile number 2? Beautiful. So we'll talk a little bit about your nakshatra card, which means it's star energy. I think nakshatra means star map, if I'm not mistaken, but don't quote me on that. You're welcome to correct me in the comments if you so wish. What I'm getting for this is that pile 2, Revati, the deity is pushing. And I looked up Victor Carr's examination of the sutra, and he translates it as the nourisher needs cows for calves. And it's reminding me of the deity is pushing. So that's giving, motherhood, nourisher, security. Like, what is nourishment? Soul nourishment. It's love. It's in a child. How does a mother love their child? Like, she's the nourisher. She gives it love. She gives it security. She gives the child milk. And the nourisher needs cows for calves. In order to be a mother, she needs to have a child. Like the woman, unless she has a child, doesn't produce milk. So there's that kind of cyclical interaction between the two, the symbiotic reaction or interaction between mother and child is the way it's coming across. So it's kind of really about breaking generational trauma and breaking patterns from childhood. I'm hearing what they didn't. So I'm getting very strong familyship for you, pile number 2. What they didn't realize about you is that, and what they do realize now is that you were their teacher. I think you always had an innate understanding that in the law of one, there's that concept of teach, learn. There's always a vibration higher than us, and there's always a vibration lower than us. So you were always aware that you were learning from them, but also you had stuff to teach. And that's just how it was. And you had that innate understanding. Whereas I feel like I'm getting rules for thee, but not for me. I'm hearing, I am your mother. I'm hearing, I am your father. I'm in charge. I am. But it's a real corruption of the I am energy. And the I am is the God in me. And when you connect to that, it is the most powerful. It is a very, very powerful energy. I am. So they were not understanding the power of it, and they were not understanding the power of you, and they were not understanding the power of the relationship. They didn't realize that you were their student and they were your teacher, but it was also vice versa. They didn't get the teach learn. So tarot cards, we've got the 9 of Cups. Knight of Cups, a lot of Cups energy, and the Knight of Cups can be a dreamer. So we've got the wish fulfillment card, we've got the the Dreamer card. We've got the Hierophant. These are new cards, so bear with me for a second. And we've got the Knight of Swords. So what I'm getting from this is that they may have perceived you as being like, I'm the provider of the happy home. If you do what I tell, everything, everything will go swimmingly. Wish fulfillment. I am the provider of wish fulfillment for you. You're a dreamer. I'm the Hierophant. I know better. The Hierophant talks directly to God. There's no intermediary between the Hierophant and God. So I'm getting that this caregiver kind of stood between you and God and prevented your messages from corrupted your messaging. So I'm getting so with Ravati, when it's poorly aspected, what I'm getting is on the negative side, getting kind of like enmeshment or smothering or possessiveness or objectification and parentification. Those kind of themes coming up, which would speak to the patterns from childhood that one would need to overcome to be a successful and grown adult, and to be able to really have healthy relationships in the world. So I'm really feeling that they're coming to a realization with you stepping into your ownness, stepping into your own self, that you've held a mirror up to them, that they're seeing you as being what they thought they were, if that makes sense. I believe this is the Sun. Oh, I need to look these up because these are new and I don't know. 10 of Wands, actually. I think they're realizing that they placed that you can carry a lot of burdens. There's a story of a knight who died picking this flower. 10 of Wands, forget me not. There's a story of a knight who died picking this flower for his lady. Falling into a river, he shouted, "Forget me not," as he drowned. Interesting. I think they've realized that you're unforgettable and that they couldn't defeat you. And why would they try, especially if they're your parent? That's just kind of weird. I guess it's unhealthy. It speaks to the life lesson of Ravati, which is overcoming generational trauma. The Dandelion. This is the Fool card. Beautiful. Like floating seeds of a dandelion, the Fool sets out on their journey full of hope with promise of new growth. It's a common plant that carries with it an appealing, naive quality. You can make a wish just by blowing on the seeds. This is the Hierophant. The Hierophant represents, this is the Five of Pentacles. So the Hierophant represents the balance between the conscious and the unconscious minds, often a symbol of a religious leader. This card represents authority, but commands respect through guidance. Roses have long been a symbol of monarchy as well as the marriage between power and faith. This is the rose. So I'm hearing a rose by another name would smell as sweet from Romeo and Juliet. They've realized that the purity and the innocence of you, the freedom of you, just the divinity of you. This is the Death card. Death is a card about cycles, about an end leading to a new beginning. When wildfires rage through its forest, the lodge pine's cones soften and release their seeds, which take root in the ashes after the next rain. Wow. So you've got the Hierophant, you've got Death, and you've got the Fool. What they've realized about you is that you're reborn. And they may have tried to guilt trip you into not stepping into your own life, stepping into your own version of who you want to be. because they knew better. Mother knows best. I'm hearing God Bless the Child. It's a Billie Holiday song. I'm hearing Love in the Dark by Jesse Reyes. Floating. We're only human floating on a rock, but I believe that we are made of stardust. Unconditional. You put up with so much. I could never repay the way that you love. I think they're realizing how loving you were and how much of their happiness relied upon how much they outsourced their happiness and their 9 of Cups to you. And it wasn't fair. They left you out in the cold. I'm getting siege energy for you for 5 of Pentacles. Like they used, I'm getting silent treatment and withdrawal, like withholding resources, withholding nourishment, withholding resources, love, attention, maybe even going further and poisoning relationships as well. Maybe poisoning your own mind against yourself. When I was 8 years old, my parents put me on a diet, and all it did was put me at war with my body for decades. And out of that, I ended up developing an eating disorder as well. I was no longer safe in my body. There were other healthier ways of, and I wasn't even that heavy, to be honest. All it did was it put me at war. I ended up putting on even more weight than that. 8 years of age, and there was a lot of turmoil happening in our house at that time. And both of my parents have been on a diet my entire life. So I was born into that like weird relationship with food anyway, and then they just kind of imprinted that on me. I'm getting that kind of like body shaming or maybe slut shaming. You know, a lot of religious families can have that when it's a bit corrupted. Not all religious families are like that, obviously, but it can be a characteristic when it's more dogma than integrity, I want to say. And I'm hearing the phrase FUCK, the phenomena, and I'm talking about psychic gifts and all that carry on. I'm hearing it is F the phenomena. It is far more important to have courage and to be kind and to unselfishly love than to have fancy schmancy things that you can do and you can't take it with you. I'm hearing that Harry Styles song. You can't bribe the door on your way to the sky. You look really good down here, but you ain't really good. I feel like, they're really coming to a realization that you leaving or you being in your own energy and not pouring into their happiness because they are grown adults and responsible for their own happiness. They're realizing that how much they were literally feeding off of you. They will probably never tell you that. These buds are really jumping out at me. It's starting to bud within them. So maybe, you know, I'm not saying that they're ever going to change, but they're starting to have that realization. Pile number 2. Really, really, really beautiful energy for you. You have overcome so much. If nobody has told you, I would like to tell you that you are absolutely, you're a gift. My gosh, you're a transformation master. You are so protected. You are unforgettable. You are beautiful. You are a wish fulfillment to the planet, to the world, to the divine. You're an absolute rose. I'm going to leave it there, pile number 2. I'm sending you a lot of love and blessings. If you like my content, I'd love it if you'd consider subscribing. And I am sending you so many blessings. And I will see you at another reading, I hope. Take care. Bye.